There's also other places now that before, in the previous ordinance, vendors could not vend that they now can, correct?
That's correct.
Go ahead. Please explain that to the Commission.
Before it was restricted throughout HP2 and HP3 zoning districts, and areas that were presented back under the street performer ordinances to areas that were possibilities back then when it was banned down St. George Street included areas such as the sidewalk along Charlotte Street, which is a wide sidewalk, which is just north of the plaza. In fact, it's right across Cathedral Place from the plaza. You have Anderson Circle, and you have, Pond Circle and Anderson Circle are two areas.
These are places where now individuals can vend, correct?
Can vend and perform.
Okay, keep going.
Even if the ordinances are adopted tonight. And you can see the close proximity of Anderson Circle, Pond Circle and Anderson Circle to the market in the plaza in this area, and then Charlotte Street just north of Cathedral Place that is a fairly wide sidewalk. You get to the west side, and this is the west side of the plaza that would be the prohibited area. One of the officers testified as to the intense area where most of the vendors and performers are, which is this northwest corner at the end of St. George Street. You have on the back side a government house, West Garden, or the west portion of the plaza that is an area that's available for vending and performing if the ordinances go forward. You have in front of City Hall, and you can see it all in the same aerial here, in the close proximity to where it is, to the plaza. This is City Hall, the Leitner Museum building that I'm pointing to here. This is the Casa Monica, and this is the area in front of City Hall that's available. And also on Cordova Street, on the east side of Cordova Street between King Street and Orange Street is a fairly wide sidewalk. Most of it's wide enough to have space available for somebody to perform or possibly vend. Once you get to the north end of St. George Street, which is here, and just to give you a reference, these are the city gates right here. You have the area, that's this green area up in here where the picnic tables are as you come out of the garage on the backside of the Visitor Information Center. The general direction is to come down, and I show this area. This is the Fort and Fort Alley with the main entrance to the fort. If you came out of the Visitor Information Center and walked down to St. George Street to go down to the fort, you would be coming down Fort Alley, and outside of 50 feet away from St. George Street, Fort Alley is also a pedestrian sidewalk that's available for vending or performing. Just to give you a reference on 50 feet, this black marking right here is 152 feet. So Fort Alley's about 125 feet long, and 50 feet off St. George Street is the only part that's banned.
Two quick questions, and some of this testimony, unfortunately for you, and I'm sorry, will be replicated in the ordinance subsequent to this. But you mentioned these different areas now that are available for both vending and performing. Do tourists frequent these areas?
Yes. All the areas have tourists that I say frequent the areas. For example, even in front of the Leitner Museum building here, there's a trolley drop-off, for example. Fort Alley, which I just talked about, that's an area that's the primary entrance to the fort, is coming off that Fort Alley crossing into the fort. And then you go into the Visitor Information Center at the north end of St. George Street, and west of there is the parking garage, where is designed to handle tourist traffic coming in and where they're supposedly going to be parking to come down St. George Street.